The China Report for Sunday, June 16, 2013. China to launch pilot carbon market in Shenzhen. China's economic growth has come on the back of unparalleled coal use, unbreathable air and the unenviable title of being the world's biggest greenhouse gas emitter. So as it prepares to launch its first pilot carbon market on Tuesday, there is intense speculation about the scheme's likely impact, both domestically and whether it boosts China's support for a binding global treaty to lower carbon emissions. The pilot is in the economically thrusting city of Shenzhen, across the border from Hong Kong, one of 7 testing grounds Beijing picked in 2011 to try out emissions trading before deciding whether to launch a national system from 2015. Carbon markets, also known as emissions trading or cap-and-trade schemes, have become one of the most widely used ways of putting a price on the carbon dioxide emissions produced by burning fossil fuels such as coal and gas emissions that scientists say are driving potentially dangerous global warming. Such markets encourage factories and other major carbon producers to curb pollution by capping the volume of emissions allowed and forcing companies to surrender permits to cover their annual emissions. Cleaner companies can then sell excess permits to dirtier ones, thus setting a market price aimed at reducing overall emissions and driving more investment in greener technologies. China credit bubble unprecedented in modern world history. The scale of credit is so extreme that the country would find it very hard to grow its way out of the excesses as in past episodes, implying tougher times ahead. The credit-driven growth model is clearly falling apart. This could feed into a massive overcapacity problem, and potentially into a Japanese-style deflation. There is no transparency in the shadow banking system, and systemic risk is rising. We have no idea who the borrowers are, who the lenders are, and what the quality of assets is, and this undermines signaling. While the non-performing loan rate of the banks may look benign at just 1%, this has become irrelevant as trusts, wealth management funds, offshore vehicles and other forms of irregular lending make up over half of all new credit. It means nothing if you can offload any bad assets you want. A lot of the banking exposure to property is not booked as property. Wealth products worth $2 trillion of lending are in reality a hidden second balance sheet for banks, allowing them to circumvent loan curbs and dodge efforts by regulators to halt the excesses. This niche is the epicenter of risk. Half the loans must be rolled over every 3 months, and another 25% in less than 6 months. What we are seeing now is finally the housing bubble in China coming to a head. Debt to GDP now stands at 225%. France condemns attack on Chinese wine students. France's interior minister has condemned as racist an assault on 6 Chinese students by drunken locals in the Bordeaux wine-producing region that left one seriously injured. The attack comes amid reports that wealthy Chinese tourists are being increasingly targeted by muggers in Paris. It will do little to ease tensions between France and China, locked in a trade dispute ranging from solar panels to wine. The assault on the village of Hostens, 50 kilometers 30 miles south of Bordeaux late on Friday came after one of the Chinese, who have been living in France for 2 months to study winemaking, complained about the noise a group of locals were making in the street. One student in her 20s was rushed to hospital in Bordeaux after being struck in the face with a bottle when the locals tried to break into the student's house, local newspaper Sud-Ouest reported. 2 suspects have been arrested. Interior Minister Manuel Valls' office issued a statement saying Valls condemns very severely this xenophobic act, for which perpetrators will have to face justice. Around the world there is an increasing level of resentment and distrust towards Chinese. The causes are many, including trade disputes, spying and cultural differences. That's the China Report for today. Zaijian.